Friends, welcome to this conference on cyber crime and security. I'm no expert on the subject, but I have to give some introductory remarks. In the history of human civilization, there have been events, there have been inventions which have changed the course of history. It will not be possible for me to mention the whole lot of them, but to give a few examples, the invention of wheel that changed the course of history. The concept of zero that changed the whole concept of mathematics or calculations. Likewise, we have today the internet, which is changing our lives in a manner which is mind-boggling. And what will be the shape of things in future, it's really difficult to imagine. Whatever picture is drawn or painted, you find it difficult to comprehend that things would go that far. In fact, referring to these changes, they say that 3 laws are actually in operation. One is Moore's law, which says that the processing power of microchip doubles every 18 months. Then there is the Gilder's law, which says that the total bandwidth of communication systems triples every 12 months. And thirdly, there is the Metcalfe's law, which says that the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of nodes. So, these laws have been framed by experts just to explain earlier we used to say geometrical progression. I think even that would not describe adequately the pace of changes in the cyber world. You could call it meteoric, or you can think of some other phrase. But even geometrical progression won't be enough to describe the rapid changes taking place in the cyber world. It has become central to our economy. It has become central to our social relations. But while we are getting used to so many facilities and connectivity is so very easy now, all these developments are also throwing up challenges and threats which will have to be taken into account and which will need to be countered. The threats mostly come from, you can say, 4 different sources. Hackers are there, then those who want to break into cyber security, break into the cyber laws for economic gain. Then there are non-state actors. And finally, and distressingly, there are some states which have embarked on cyber warfare. And according to a UN figure, 33 nations are already undertaking some kind of cyber war against one country or the other. A former director of the CIA, he recently wrote a book on cyber war, and he says that US is already in a state of cyber war. Now, in India, we have been conscious of the developments, and therefore, quite early, we enacted the IT Act. We entrusted the National Security Council with the responsibility of securing the internet. Then we also set up in 2002 the Computer Emergency Response Team, CERT. So all these steps were taken by us in the initial stages. And yet, we are very vulnerable today. Please remember that while we are an IT power, we cannot claim to be a cyber power. Our vulnerabilities are there, and we are conscious of it, and we have not really kept pace with the dimensions of the challenges and the threats being posed by different actors playing in the cyber world. When we have any discussion on enhancing cyber security, lots of issues come up. To obfuscate the whole subject, there are issues of privacy, there are issues of fundamental rights, there are issues of human rights, there are issues of national security. All these, there are conflicting claims, and the lawmakers get confused how to strike a balance under all these pressures. Actually, these pressures are there even at the international level. And yet, the international community has been gradually meandering its way and trying to find some workable formula. There's a United Nations group of governmental experts. They prepared a report in 2015, which broadly says that the international law applies to cyberspace also. Then these NATO countries, they sponsored a study, and they worked out what they called Tallinn Manual. It was to start with Tallinn Manual 1.0, now they're working on 2.0. It specifies the laws which should apply in cyberspace during peacetime. Now, India has also since then, it is trying to catch up, trying to reinforce its cybersecurity, and a number of steps have been taken during the last couple of years. I'll mention some of these. A national cyber security policy was initiated in 2013. A national cyber security coordinator was put in place in 2014. Then a national critical information infrastructure protection center has also been set up. Then a national cyber coordination center that is in the process of being set up. The government is also working on public-private partnership to enhance cybersecurity, and the government in its own way has been pursuing what could be described as cyber diplomacy, by which what I mean is discussing with other like-minded countries on how to enhance cybersecurity bilaterally or trilaterally. There are a number of impediments which we must be conscious of with the best of intentions. Firstly, our criminal justice system. It is very antiquated. We have been talking of reforms in the criminal justice system, but there is fierce resistance to these, any demand for change or reform. And unless the criminal justice system becomes modern and reformed, they will not understand, and application would be very much wanting. You know how antiquated the police system is. The kind of awareness which you would expect in police hierarchy of the cyber laws and the need for cyber security is just not there. And knowing the police to the extent I do not think we are equipped to deal with the multifarious challenges which are being thrown up in this new emerging sphere. I personally feel that instead of recruiting men in khaki, we should be recruiting men from the open market, the boys who have done courses in cybersecurity. Let them be a plainclothes section, just as we have intelligence people who work in plainclothes. So the cyber experts could also be recruited from the open market instead of being recruited for their physical fitness or muscle power and that kind of thing. We need to recruit from the open market to enhance our capability to deal with such threats. Then among the ministries, there are turf wars on the question of cyber security. Everyone, they work in silos, or they tend to work in silos. Then there is a huge gap between the experts and the policymakers. This also is an impediment. By the time the policymakers reach a level, things have already gone ahead. The challenges have multiplied manifold. Yet, we have to pursue this matter, and for India, the way forward is to work on regional and global cooperation. And we must develop a national cyber strategy. That what should be our strategic approach to this problem, we must come to an agreement on that and work accordingly. With these words, I thank you all, and with the kind of experts that we have, I'm sure the ideas which would come up should facilitate in the crystallization and formulation of ideas towards evolving a national cyber strategy. Thank you.